Hello, this is our simulation explanation for our vending machine that takes in a nickel, a dime, and a quarter, and will vend out an item at 40 cents and will give change at 45 cents, and anything above that will give change in increments of 5. So the way this works as when we're in state 0, if we get a quarter, we're going to go to state 5, which is our 25 cents. If we get a nickel, we're going to go to state 1, which is 5 cents. And then if we get a dime, we'll go to state 2, which is our 10 cents. And that'll work throughout the entire finite state machine based on our inputs. If we get a quarter, like for example, if we get a quarter and we're in state 5, we'll go to state 6, which is our 30 cents. Or if we get a dime and we're in state 4, which is 20 cents, we're going to go to our 30 cents, which is also state 6. So that'll work all the way until we get down and adding to the total amount until we get to 40 cents based on whatever sequence of path we use. If we're at 40 cents, then it'll vend an item, but we will not get change back. As you can see, C will be equal to 0. If we come to a place where we have 45 cents and we skip the 40 cents state, then we will get change back and we'll get 5 cents back. So in this finite state machine, we're assuming that change at a high, change being 1 will mean that you get 5 cents back. So vend will equal 1, it will vend, and then you'll get 5. Okay, sorry about that. If we're at state 10 and we have 50 cents, our vend will be equal to 0 because the way our vending machine works is we're gonna only vend at 45 cents to ensure that we're only vending once. But you're gonna, vend is gonna be equal to 0, but you're gonna give 5 cents back, so change will be equal to 1. And then you're gonna go back to state 45 and change will be equal to 1 again, which means you're giving back another 5 cents, which is equal to 10 cents. And vend, it'll finally vend will be equal to 1, and it's gonna go back to state 0. And that also works for the 40 cents. After it vends, it'll go back to state 0. If we have 55 cents, vend will be equal to 0. We won't vend it until we get to the 45 cents, and change will be equal to 1. So that means that we're gonna give 5 cents. It's gonna go back to state 50 cents, and it'll be another 5 cents added, so that'll be 10 cents. And then it's gonna go back to the 45 cents, and it's going to vend. Vend will be equal to 1, and change will be equal to 1 as well. So we know that we're returning 15 cents, and then it'll go back to state 0. If we have 60 cents, then vend will be equal to 0, and change will be equal to 1, so we have 5 cents returning. It'll go back to state 55 cents. Change will be equal to 1, and vend will be equal to 0, which will mean 10 cents over of change returned. Then it's gonna go to 50 cents. Vending will be equal to 0. Change will be equal to 1, which will be 15 cents returned. And then once it gets to 45 cents, we will finally vend our candy or gum, and change will be equal to 1, so you'll return 20 cents, and it'll also go back to state 0. So if we look at our code here, as you can see, you're gonna take an input, clock, reset, nickel, dime, or quarter, and your output will be vend and change. And so when the reset is on, our current state will be 0, which is change 0. Well, not change is 0, but your amount is 0. And if not, we're gonna wait till a positive rising edge trigger on the clock, and next state is gonna equal to your current state. So in state 0, you're gonna have 0 cents. If you get a nickel, you'll have that'll account for 5 cents. If you have dime, that'll count for 10 cents. And if you have a quarter, it'll count for 25 cents. So you'll go to those according states. In 5 cent state, if you have a nickel, it'll go to the 10 cent state, dime, 15 cent state, and quarter, 30 cent state. And that'll continue on until you get to the end. And as we can see here, once we're in the 40 cent state, it'll vend and get a 0 as change, and it'll return to the state 0. If that doesn't happen, and we land in state 45 cents, the vend will be equal to 1, and we'll give 5 cent back change, will mean 1. Change will be equal to 1, and then we're gonna return back to state 0. If we land in the 50 cent state, we're not going to vend our machine until we get back to state 45, but our change will be equal to 1, assuming that we're having 5 cents. And then right here at next state, assuming that we're going back to state 45 cents, and then it'll also vend and return to state 0, and you'll have 10 cents change. Here is 55 cents, doing the same thing, returning to state 50 cents, and then returning to state 45 cents, and vending it, returning 15 cents total. And then here in state 60 cents, it is gonna return to state 55, returning to state 50, and then returning to 45, and that'll be a total of 20 cents. And so if we look at our test bench here, this just shows that we're going to be running our reset first, and then waiting. This is our clock, which should be most frequent, and then we have our nickels and dimes, and we make sure that we have each case. So let's look at our wavelength here. As we explain, we have a clock, a reset, a nickel, a dime, a quarter, the vending out, and change. And so after our reset is 1, we're gonna start at the first positive edge trigger, which is here. It's gonna be here, and there nickel is going to be equal to 1, so that's 5 cents. Once we go to the next positive edge trigger, we have dime equal to 1, so that's 15 cents. Dime is going to be equal to 1 again, so that's 25 cents. And then here at this next positive edge trigger, you're going to get another, or going to quarter, so that's going to be 50 cents total. And as we see, change is equal to 1 here, but vend is not, so that we know that we're giving 5 cents back. And then at the next positive edge trigger, it vends, and we're getting 5 more cents back, which means that it works correctly. We've given 10 cents back after having a 50 cents in total. So if we try it again on our next positive edge trigger, we have a nickel, which is 5 cents. And then on the next one, we have another nickel. So that's 10 cents. The next positive edge, we have a dime, that's 20 cents. And the next positive edge trigger, we have another dime, that's 30 cents. And then on the last one, we have a quarter, which is 55 cents. And so on the next one, when it's 55 cents right here, we know that we should get 15 cents back in change. So for here, we have 5 cents. On the next one, we have another 5 cents, which is 10 cents. And then on the next